Hi everyone, glad to be here again this year. So last year I was here talking about open source as a junior developer, and tonight I'd like to talk about within the span of 10 minutes. I'm not going to tell you you'll not be able to contribute to Nuxt immediately, but at least tell you how the Nuxt repository work. So you get the basics, and if you have any issues, you know where to look at. To begin with, well, my name is Julien. I began my journey in development in 2020. I'm currently a front-end developer at Litchi in France, and I'm also a Nuxt core team member. So this is where you can find me. If you have any question, feel free to send me a message. During my free time, I like to practice music. Of course, like probably many of you watching a lot of animes, I'm playing video games, but I also do a lot of open source. And speaking of open source, from my own personal experience, I started to contribute to Nuxt almost 3 years ago. And in the beginning, I know it can be hard to get mentally prepared to do open source, maybe because of fear of being judged or imposter syndrome. Like we are all impressed by what maintainers are doing, or can also be impressed by the complexity of open source project. Just don't be scared. Just take a look and take your time if you want to take a look at any open source repository. And once you're mentally ready, well, you probably don't know where to look at in a repository, and it's normal because it takes a lot of time. It's like basically getting a new job in a new company and getting assigned to a new project. You probably, in your first day job, you probably don't open any PR. So it's normal to take a lot of time to get familiar with an open source project and then starting to opening PRs. Now, about the Nuxt repository, so you can go on GitHub and see what it is. So you can see a lot of directories here and a lot of files. First, Nuxt is Nuxt/Nuxt on GitHub is a monorepo. We're using pnpm, so it's probably better for you to enable Corepack if you're interested to install it locally. We have a package manager constraint. So Corepack is a manager of package managers. Thank you, JavaScript. So easy to use. So yeah, if you're interested, you can clone it with git clone and this HTTPS link. Now, let's take a look at the package of the repositories. So let's start with Nuxt schema. So this package will export the Nuxt default configuration. We then have Nuxt Kit, which provides utilities to interact with Nuxt, the build-time instance of Nuxt. Different builder packages. So we currently have RSPack, Vite, and Webpack. It loads specific builders and provides sometimes for Vite specifically, it provides some builder-specific features. For Vite, it's going to be, for example, the inline CSS feature to inline CSS within the rendered HTML. We have then Nuxi, the CLI, which have been moved to Nuxt/CLI. Test utils to provide utilities to run Nuxt for runtime tests and end-to-end tests. And finally, the core repository of Nuxt, simply Nuxt. So let's take a look directly at Nuxt. As you can see, there's quite some files at the root of the directory. So we have Nuxt to export the defined Nuxt config helper, everything from Nuxt Kit schema, some type augmentation, and also the build config for unbuild to build Nuxt to release it. The most interesting part will be SRC. So this is what you will get, the source code of what you will get if you run npm yarn or pnpm install Nuxt. we have two main directories, which are app and core. So for core, everything is build time code. So you need to have a Nuxt build time instance, of course, to build to run Nuxt first in dev mode and then in build mode. So everything is here for the Nuxt build time instance. It export a function to create the Nuxt build time instance, initialize Nuxt. Also, we should have a load Nuxt function down here. You also have a file for Nitro to configure it and also initialize it. You then have specific feature file, for example, the build time cache. To cache some files that can be built at build time. And then also we can take a look at the plugin directories. So everything here is used to transform your files. They are all using unplugin, so you can all these plugins are compatible with Webpack, Aerospec, and Vite. And also we have runtime directories. So I said that everything is build time in the core directory. I lied. It's an exception. So in runtime/Nitro, everything here is used for Nitro. We have everything related to app config, the define driver utility. Then also, so this one just export define app config. You have also a specific feature to proxy your server logs in dev mode to your browser. Then for the last three files, these are different event handlers. So this one is when an error happens when rendering your Vue app. This one is for if you disable SSR in your project. We have a path utility file, and finally, the main renderer to render your Vue application. So you have also the app directory. For those who are quite familiar with it, you may know it as the hash app import, which has been deprecated since quite a while. Everything here is used by your Vue application, either server-side or client-side. So you have all your entry files, everything to create your Vue app, your Nuxt app instance. So this one will be runtime and not build time. Some types, and also everything that can be exported. So components, composables, middleware. You also have all your Nuxt core plugins. So if you need to import anything from here, it's always preferred to use hash imports. So these two directories are necessary when you run a Nuxt Bear app. This is what you have when you run a Nuxt Bear app. If you build it, you'll have only the content of Nuxt of the core directory and the app directory. We still have some directories left. So we have components, head, and imports, and also pages. These are feature-specific directories. So for components, it's going to be file transformation and some runtime utilities. And these directories are written as modules. So technically, we could extract them and put it into a separate module or repository. But since they are all used by so many people, they should stay here in Nuxt core. So what happens when you run Nuxi? If you run Nuxt build on Nuxt dev, the CLI will import load Nuxt from NuxtKit, which will import it from Nuxt. It will create a Nuxt build instance, and then build Nuxt. And the difference is between build and dev is just after build Nuxt, it will either, if you build Nuxt, import the bundle function from builders, and if you're in dev mode, create a Nuxt dev server with Nitro. So it means that if you are able to create a very minimal reproduction without any other modules, you will have to take a look at either CLI, Nuxt, or Nitro, or even some NGS packages if you have any issue. I haven't talked about docs, but we also have, well, of course, some of you may know Nuxt.com, the website. It's hosted at nuxt/nuxt.com on GitHub. And we also have docs directory at the root of the Nuxt core repository. The objective is to, we split it like the content and the project, is to be able within a single PR, if you create a feature, to modify the document, update the documentation and the active code. Now, once you've opened a PR, just a small advice, try to run a linter, try also to run a type check and the fixtures. Because I know it can be annoying to open your PR, then seeing that the CI is red, and then getting back on the PR to commit, to push any commits. Last pieces of advice. I know I've been taking a bit too much time, so don't hesitate to ask for help on issues if you're willing to take it. You can ask it to the issue author for more context. Maintainers can also give you hints on the scope of the repository to modify. If there is any issue that has a clear scope, we usually put a good first issue label on it. It doesn't mean that the issue is very easy to solve, but it just means that you know where you should be able to know where to look at by reading the issue. Sometimes a discussion label can pop up on the issue. It means that it will either be discussed within the issue or that the issue will go through, will be discussed among team members. There's also a lot of way to contribute. It's not about only code contribution. We also have issue triaging, answering discussion questions, reviewing PRs, reviewing also typo in PRs. So yeah. I have one last slide to finish this lightning talk. It's just to say thank you to everyone here. Nuxt wouldn't be what it is today without you, because we have now a huge community, active community with a lot of contributors on Nuxt core, but also a lot of modules and a lot of maintainers for these modules, and over 1,000 community module contributors. So just saying it again, thank you, everyone.
All right. Thank you, Julien. We have a few questions for you. Let's see. First off, how many people are responsible for reviewing the MRs here and approving them?
So actually, anyone can put a review on PRs. It's not like restricted to only the core team. We have also a team of insiders. Well, it's now called the ecosystem team. But like basically everyone can go on PRs, take a look, and review it. It can be typo or review on active code. But to approve it, well, it's going to be either the core team. Usually it's Daniel, to be honest. And well, yeah, Daniel has been doing a lot of work. And I think if you've made a PR with you should be also able to approve it. I'm not sure about it, but normally, yes.
Great, thank you. All right. What are the linting rules if we wanted to contribute to a repo? As mentioned, it's better to lint the code first.
The linting rules are in ESLint. I forgot if we are already using Nuxt ESLint, but we should, if not. And just run a npm lint fix, which should automatically lint your code before submitting your PR.
Perfect. And last question, are there any parts of Nuxt or on JS ecosystem that really needs new contributors?
Well, I guess we always need contributors. I know Daniel has been doing a lot. He's working like every day, sometimes like very late, up to probably 11 p.m. So I just hope that we can try to ease not the pressure, but the amount of work for everyone. And if people are willing to contribute, it also makes Nuxt better quickly, I guess.
One thing that I've heard in past Next Nations and other conferences is that languages are always one of the biggest asks for documentation for contribution.
Yes. Currently, we're staying with English. I'm pretty sure there is plan for translation. I have to confirm it. So I won't confirm if there is any plan for any translation here. And about
Good call.
contribution, yeah, it's not an obligation, but I know there's a lot of people who are willing to contribute, but who are maybe scared. I was scared in the beginning too, and also, well, who knows that it takes a lot of time to get familiar with how a repository work.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you very much for your time today, Julien.
Thank you for having me.